Hey guys, as promised, I am doing a 3 looks 1 palette using the new NATASHA DENONA Biba palette. So I did a first impressions on this palette when I ran and got it last Friday, and I did, a demo and swatches, and I promised this 3 looks 1 palette video for you guys if you were interested. A bunch of you responded that you would be. So in the demo, during my first impressions video, I tried to use colors from the different rows. So she NATASHA DENONA laid out the palette so that each row had like a tonal story. So the top row is like browns, the middle row is has like a red tone, and then the bottom row is like the coolest. So what I did for each look was I focused on each row. I know for the last look where I focused on the cool tones, this look actually, I did add Monroe, and I know for some of the other looks I did use Tusk. So I did mix it up a little bit, but I focused on each row. But just quickly before we get into each look, I just want to mention that now that I've been using this palette for about a week, I love it. I love it. This is definitely going to be in my March favorites. This has quickly become that one palette where, I'll sit down and I'll do my makeup and I think, what kind of eye look do I want to do? And I just reach for this one. This has really taken the place of a lot of my everyday kind of palettes that I've been using, that I've been gravitating towards. This one is just great. I love the quality of the shadows. I love how there's 3 formulas and they're all distinctly different from one another. And I think they all complement one another really, really nicely. There's the creamy matte, which we all know and love. There's the shiny metallics that we all know and love from NATASHA DENONA. And then she has her cream to powder formula, which is fairly unique, I think. They appear much lighter on the lid than they do in the pan. So like for me, and you'll see in this look, when we go over look 3, you'll see that this sculpture color, which looks like a light gray and it's a creamy matte, this actually appears deeper on my lid than this color Tor, which is a cream to powder formula. I like these cream to powder formulas because I find them to be the most unique and the most interesting. They are kind of sheer, but I feel like they have like this nice watercolor effect, and I think that they layer nicely without like getting all muddied because of the sheerness, because of the lightness of the formula. I just find them really interesting. Tor, Rayon, Tone, and Spot. Those are the 4 cream to powder formulas in here. And it's definitely something you need to experience because when you open up this palette, at least for me, I thought, well, these 2 colors look kind of redundant. These 2 colors look kind of redundant because this is a cream to powder and this is a cream to powder. They're so different from the creamy mattes that they perform completely differently on the lid, even though they look redundant in the palette. So why don't we go ahead and get into the looks. Let's start with look number 1. And this one, I focused on the top row. I'm going to start with Tusk, and I'm going to apply that to the outer corner of my eye and into my socket area. Next, I'm going to go in with Freckle, and I'm just going to continue to deepen up the outer corner here and my socket line area. So next I'm going to go into Shine with a flat shader brush, and I'm going to put that on most of my lid and just meet up to Freckle over here, so like 2/3 of my lid. Next, I'm going to go into this rustic shade. I'm going to use a smaller flat shader brush because I just want to make sure I get it just in this outer corner here. So this is the Esom W21 brush. And I'm going to focus that right out here, the outer corner, and bring that towards the Shine shade. Next, I'm going to go into Prairie with a fluffy blending brush, just ever so slightly and gently. I'm going to use that color to blend out this top edge here. I'm actually going to take my original brush, go back into Tusk, and just soften this all up a little bit. There, I feel like that makes that a little bit more airbrushed looking. And then I'm going to go into Cocoa and line my eyes with my Esom S31 brush. So there is the eyeshadow look number 1 using the top row of the Biba palette. I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes, put on some mascara, and I'll be right back. All right, so there is the completed look using the first row of the Biba palette. All right, so there was look number 1. Let's go ahead and get into look number 2, where I focus on this center red toned row. All right, so I'm gonna focus on this second row here. I'm sure I'll probably use other colors like Tusk and Freckle possibly, but I'm gonna focus on that second row. So I'm gonna start with Tusk. This seems to be the color I like to start with just to kind of carve out my, like the shape that I wanna do on my eye. And I just put that on the outer corner here and blend that in. Next, I'm going to go into this tone color here. This is one of the cream to powder formulas, so I know it's a little bit more sheer than, say, this color Buff, which is right next to it, and it's going to have a different effect. I'm going in with like a flat shader, and I'm going to put this all over my lid. I love these cream to powder shadows. They really have a nice like airbrushed look to them. They go onto the lid and they just look like they've been like blown on, you know, not like applied like in a really heavy-handed kind of way. They just have a really like soft look and touch to them. I just really like them. I'm gonna put a little bit of rayon, which is also a cream to powder formula. I'm gonna put that like on the inner portion of my lid. So I'm taking a flat shader, I'm gonna go into rayon, and I'm gonna lightly dust that onto the inner portion of my lid here. I love that. Look at that subtle touch. I'm really, really becoming a huge, huge fan of these cream to powder formulas. Next, I'm going to take another flat shader, but it's a little bit fluffier, and I'm going to go into Pasha. And I'm going to place this on the outer portion of my lid and just sweep that in. And now I'm going to take, this isn't really a flat shader, this is the Sonia G Builder 2 brush. And this is the brush that I like to use for shimmery shades because it really grips onto like hard to pick up, more like glittery type shadows. So I'm going to go into Monroe and I'm going to place this on the center of my lid, right between the two darker shades, Rayon and Pasha. I'm going to take this little blending brush and just blend the edges here. All right, I'm going to take my Suku eyeliner brush and I'm going to go into the color Seed to line my eyes. All right, so that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm gonna put on some mascara and I'll be right back. All right, there is my final look number 2, focusing on the second row of the Biba palette. All right, and last but not least, let's go ahead and do a demo on this look that I'm actually wearing on my eyes, which is look number 3. And obviously I focused on this bottom cool toned row. All right, guys, I'm gonna start with the shade Tusk over here, and I've got my Sonia G Worker 1 brush, and I'm gonna sweep it all over the lid. Just going to take the same brush and I'm going to go into Sculpture, and I'm going to use this to deepen my outer V and like crease area. I should say socket line area. I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush. I've got the Isom G34 brush. I'm going to go into the Tour shade. I'm going to sweep this over my lid. I'm going to go into this Buff shade with a smaller blending brush. This is the S33 from Isom. And I'm just going to pick up a teeny bit of that and work that just above the gray that I've laid down. Then I'm going to take a denser blending brush. This is the Blender Pro from Sonia G, and I'm going to go into Spot. And I'm just going to deepen the outer corner a little bit more. All right, I just got this in the mail actually. This is the brand new Sonia G Pencil 1 brush. She has I almost said reformulated. She's basically redesigned this brush so that it's using undyed goat hair versus the original, which I believe has squirrel hair. I'm going to do a whole video kind of comparing the like new versions of all of her brushes, and I'm going to have to kind of go back and look. But I think that this one was squirrel hair and this one is undyed goat. So I'm going to go back into Spot and line my lash lines. Ooh, I like this one. I feel like I have more control with this newer version. So that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm gonna apply some false lashes. I think this kind of darker smoky look really needs some heftier lashes, and apply some mascara and I'll be right back. All right, I am back. I'm actually trying these new lashes out and I think I hate them. So maybe try and ignore the lash situation. I don't even know if you can see them. They're really, really like natural, but they're pre-glued. I thought that that would be like such a great time saver, but they're kind of fussy and they're not like angled right. Like the glue, I don't feel like is placed on the right side of the lash for me. And then this one is like way up. Anyway, I think they look really, really kind of jacked up. But as I was kind of finishing up this look and putting on this red lipstick, I realized I should really put something brighter in the inner part of my lid here. It looks pretty stark. So I'm actually going to go into this Monroe color here. I'm going to add that to the inner corners here and maybe bring it up into my lid a little bit. There, I think that helps a bit, kind of just open up the look a little bit. So there is look number 3, focusing on the last cool toned bottom row. All right, so that is it for this 3 looks, 1 palette using the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I am really, really enjoying this palette. It is wonderful. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And even though it looks pretty boring to some, I think, and people are, you know, commenting that they're kind of sick of like another warm tone palette, I just like having this palette from Natasha Denona. I really enjoy her formula. I really enjoy the layout of this palette. I feel like for me personally, it just makes such a difference when shadows are laid out in a specific way, when there's a certain amount of shadows. Like 15 for me, this is probably like the largest size palette that I feel comfortable with. Palettes that are larger, I tend to get very overwhelmed. I never know what to do. They may look very beautiful, like our 28 pan palettes. They may look very beautiful, but I kind of get lost in all the colors and I don't know how to like narrow it down. So I really like the layout of this palette. I find it very inspirational. I like the looks that I've been getting using it. I think the shadows perform really well. So I'm just really, really enjoying my time with the Biba palette. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please comment down below if you have any questions. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.